Once you've understood all of this, you then start to think about your service proposition, because you give away your expertise as far as you possibly can, but at some point you have to be able to make money out of doing this. And the way that you do this is effectively understanding the dynamics of the market that you operate in. And because you're an expert in the niche, you know that better than anybody else. You then comprise a proposition that fits squarely within the dynamics of how the people who are accessing your expertise but are needing real assistance with it, how they'll be able to access your expertise so that you can get compensated for actually delivering the true value in that relationship, which in the case of my business in immigration practice is peace of mind. We don't sell a visa label in a passport or avoidance of queues at the immigration department. We know that when people hand their money over to us, they're buying peace of mind, because that's the one thing they can't acquire from all the free expertise that we give away and all the generosity that we embark upon. They can't acquire peace of mind. That's ultimately what we're selling. And so, because you have that acute knowledge and understanding of how your market thinks, you have an opportunity to develop products and services around that. So, this gentleman here is called Clay Christensen. He's a very respected business professor from Harvard, and he coined the phrase creative disruption. And he has he's done this work where he assesses the reality of what forces people to transact. And he gives this example of work that was done on McDonald's milkshakes. Why were McDonald's milkshakes all of a sudden peaking as being the most single most sold product, which before I think it was 11 o'clock in the morning, and they couldn't understand why it was. You would think that if you're buying a milkshake, you're quenching your thirst, right? But in reality, people were buying a milkshake because it was just the kind of thing that they could toy with for the 20-minute drive to work. And they wanted to have something in their hand, something they could sip on. The viscosity was sufficient. It would last the right kind of time. It gave them a good sense of being full in the morning. It also gave them a big sugar rush. But the reason why they were doing it is not because they wanted a milkshake, but they wanted something to hold while they drove. So the job to be done was being satisfied by a McDonald's milkshake. So you need to understand what's happening in your marketplace and then identify those jobs to be done. And then once you've identified those jobs to be done, you can understand all the friction points in actually achieving the outcomes that people need to achieve to satisfy those jobs to be done. You can understand the emotional dynamics of each of these situations and position your proposition so that any concerns that anybody might have of transacting with you are removed, because you've effectively, through your proposition, you've reversed the risk. So understanding the way that your market thinks, you have an opportunity to construct a proposition that is frictionless from the perspective of being able to supply or fulfill or serve a need that historically has been served another way, that has been founded on the constructs of the industrial era. But in the connection economy, you can do things differently. In fact, things will be done differently. So this is the jobs to be done. And once you've understood all those jobs to be done and you've mapped out that entire experience for people, you then say to yourself, well, okay, what are the psychological phenomena that are in play in having a relationship with a customer or anybody that's interested in my expertise? So you then reach into your toolkit and pull out facets of or from the science of persuasion. These well-founded realities of how we as humans take shortcuts to make decisions in an increasingly ever more complex world. We are, as individuals, wired from an evolutionary perspective in a certain way. And if you understand these constructs and you apply them to the circumstances of the market that you are going to be providing your proposition to, you have an opportunity to melt away any potential obstacles to those relationships forming to the benefit of everybody. So these 6 shortcuts are very well known, but I'll just identify how we've accommodated them in our service model. Reciprocity. Reciprocity is where, because I've done something for you, you have this innate sense that you owe me something, and so you carry around this obligation that somehow at some point you're going to have to return a favour. We give everything away for free. That's not a strategy, it's just the reality that if you want to parlay your expertise, you've got to give it to people. You can't expect them to pay for it. So you give it to them, and the act of giving it to them and that act of generosity invokes a sense of reciprocity in the person that receives it. So it means that you develop unwittingly an armada of unpaid fans that are talking about you when you're not even present. So reciprocity is a key facet of our business model. Another one is scarcity. We don't take all of our clients that come to us. We actually choose who we act for. That's because we only want to take on work for people that we believe we can actually deliver value. So I get clients quite often that come to me and I say, no, I can't take your work. Even if you want to pay me, you'll be wasting your time because I can't get your visa approved. And it's a lot of money to pay me just to get hope, right? So if I'm saying to you, no, think about another strategy, then there's ways to do that. But I don't take on every client, so scarcity, something becomes more valuable the less available it becomes. This is, again, a facet of the way that the modern world works. Authority, well, if you're clearly an expert in something and you've parlayed that to the world, then people have an opportunity to assess for themselves whether you are indeed an authority or not. Only the quality of your work will determine whether you're an authority or not, and only the perception that the people have of your work will determine when you're ultimately an authority. But if you do achieve authority status, people respect that because always people look to authority and they accord due recognition wherever there's a situation that authority presents itself. Consistency, where people have made a small decision which is going to lead to a bigger decision subsequently. It's well established that that first small decision sets a pattern that increases the likelihood subsequently that you'll go on to do another decision that's related to this one. So in our business, what we try to do as much as possible is to get somebody to give us their email address, because we have an opportunity to continue to deliver value to people via their email address. And delivering value via their email address where we don't sell anything, it's just an opportunity to learn more and get more and experience more. But the act of giving us their email address is that first step towards them subsequently doing some other action that's bigger and more profound that will lead to eventually us having a relationship. So in a very ethical way, we're able to address the social phenomenon of consistency. Liking, well, I try my very best to be as nice as I possibly can to everybody, and if that works then all well and good, but it's certainly part and parcel of our service model. And then consensus, which is social proof, where effectively if other people are doing it then it must be okay, and if other people are saying good things about it then clearly it's okay. And this is why on our website we've got a very, very extensive collection of client testimonials, and in fact our service model is designed to anticipate the collection of testimonials at every step of our interactions with customers, where it's reasonable to do that, because then we're able to get back the feedback from the marketplace and we're able to show that to everybody else. So again, transparency works in a very powerful way. So these are the facets of persuasion science, where you have an opportunity to construct your proposition openly, honestly, and tremendously ethically. And so also, whilst you're putting your service model together, you need to have something that is an absolute slam dunk, remove all risks associated with possibly transacting with me. Why would I not do this? I must be stupid not to take these terms on. If you can achieve that in your business, then you've achieved an irresistible offer. Our irresistible offer is, if we take your work on and you don't get approved, we give you double your money back. So, this is how you put together your business proposition in the wake of having parlayed your expertise through the internet as a publisher in the way that I've just outlined.